In about 30 seconds, you are going to make the still world around you slowly start to move, a wall that crawls, a hand that drifts, a paused face that flows quietly upward, none of it actually going anywhere. No screen trick, no editing, just your own eyes and 1 minute of your attention. So let's do it together. First, find any source of steady motion moving in a single direction. The best one you probably already have is the end credits of a movie or a show, scrolling steadily up the screen. If not that, a waterfall, a flowing river, a spinning spiral, or snow or rain falling past a window all work. Got one? Good. Now here is the whole secret. Pick one fixed point in the middle of that motion and stare straight at it. Do not follow the movement. Do not let your eyes drift along with it. Just lock your gaze on that single spot and hold it there, steady, while the motion pours past for a slow count of about 30. Keep staring. Let it flow. And when you are ready, snap your eyes over to something perfectly still, the back of your own hand, the wall beside you, a paused face on the screen. Watch it. That still thing is now drifting, slowly crawling in the opposite direction of the motion you were just staring at, flowing and yet never actually moving from its place. A still world. Moving. You did that with nothing but your own eyes. What you just felt has a name, and it is almost 200 years old. The motion after effect. You might know it by its older, prettier name, the waterfall illusion. And we can thank a curious observer named Robert Adams for writing it down. Back in 1834, Adams was standing in Scotland, watching the Falls of Foyers, a real waterfall, staring at the water pouring down. And when he looked away, over to the still gray rocks beside the falls, the rocks appeared to slowly drift upward, climbing toward the sky while sitting perfectly still. He was so struck by it that he wrote up an account, and almost 2 centuries later, you just reproduced the exact same thing with a set of movie credits. The same gap in seeing, waiting in the same place, in your eyes and his, the whole time. So, why does a dead still wall start to flow? Here is the one idea that explains all of it. Your brain does not have a single honest motion meter that reads off how fast the world is moving. Instead, it has teams. Deep in your visual cortex sit populations of tiny motion-detecting neurons, and they come in opposing pairs. One team fires for things moving up. A rival team fires for things moving down. Another pair covers left against right. And here is the crucial part. You do not feel the raw firing of any one team. You feel the balance between the opposing teams. If the up team and the down team are firing about equally, the tug is even, and your brain reports, nothing is moving. If the down team shouts louder than the up team, your brain reads the difference and reports, something is falling. Motion, to your brain, is not a measurement. It is a scoreline between two teams pulling against each other. Now watch what happens when you stare. When you locked your gaze on those credits pouring upward, you forced the up team to fire and fire and fire without a break for 30 solid seconds. And nerve cells are a bit like muscles, or like your eyes walking into bright sunlight. Hold them at full effort and they tire. They adapt. They stop responding as strongly to the same steady signal. So after half a minute of unbroken upward motion, your up team is worn out and sluggish, while the down team, which had nothing to do, sits fully rested. Then you snap your eyes to the still wall. Now nothing is really moving, so both teams should fall quiet and even, and you should see stillness. But they are not even anymore. The exhausted up team fires weakly, and the fresh down team fires just a little more than it. Your brain does what it always does. It reads the imbalance. And a slight edge to the down team means only one thing to your brain: downward motion. So it hands you a wall that is quietly flowing down, built entirely out of two teams that are no longer evenly matched. And this is the strange, dreamlike part you probably noticed. The wall was moving, but it never actually went anywhere. It flowed and stayed put. That paradox is the whole thing laid bare. Your motion detectors are screaming that something is moving, but a completely separate system in your brain, the part that tracks where things actually are, keeps insisting the wall is exactly where it has always been. So you get both answers at once, honestly, with no way to reconcile them. Moving and not moving, stacked on top of each other. A thing sliding forever and arriving nowhere. Now, a few honest notes, because this is delicate and it should be. What you triggered is an adaptation effect, a temporary fatigue, and temporary is the key word. It fades in a few seconds as your tired team recovers and the balance evens back out. It gets stronger the longer and the steadier you stare. And it depends on keeping your gaze truly locked on one point. If your eyes wander and chase the motion, you never tire one team and there is no after effect to feel. And to be completely clear, this is not a glitch, not a defect, and not a sign anything is wrong with your eyes. It is normal, healthy vision doing exactly what it is built to do, and it works on almost everyone. If it did not land for you the first time, stare longer, hold your gaze stiller, and try again. And best guess from how vision scientists describe it. The effect leans on the same trick your eyes use to stop overreacting to anything constant the way a smell fades, or bright light stops blinding you after a moment. Adapting to what stays the same is a feature. The drifting wall is just that feature caught in the open. And this is the part I actually want you to sit with, because it reaches further than one crawling wall. Motion is not something your eyes measure out there in the world and pass along to you faithful and true. Motion is a verdict. It is a number your brain computes from teams of cells competing against each other and hands to you as if it were simply the truth of what is in front of you. Tire one side of that competition and your brain will confidently, unshakably report movement in a world that is stone still. And here is the unsettling bit. You cannot switch it off by knowing better. You know that wall is not moving. It moves anyway. The knowing does not reach the machinery. So the next time you watch something drift across your view, sit with this. What you are calling motion is really the gap between two tired teams of cells, one worn down, one fresh, and your brain reading the difference. You do not see motion. You see the scoreline. So that wall did not really move, and your hand did not really flow. You simply wore down one team of motion detectors and let the other one win, and your brain reported the result as honestly as it reports everything else. Now, I want to hear from you. First, the simple one. Did it work? Did the still thing actually drift for you? And which direction did it flow? Up, down, or sideways? And crucially, what did you stare at to make it happen? Scrolling credits? A waterfall? A spinning spiral? Falling snow? Tell me down in the comments. And then a bonus you can run right now. Stare at the same steady motion for even longer. A full minute this time, and tell me whether the drift afterward felt stronger or lasted longer than your first try. And if you like this catching your own senses in the act, these small, strange, testable things they do behind your back, subscribe and stick around. There is a whole pile of them, and every single one is really about you.